So when you live in survival mode, you are not focused on how powerful you are. You only are focused on how safe you are. Now, you may be asking, well, is it wrong to want to be safe? No. But at what point does that hyper focus start to hijack your power? At some point, that focus on only being safe starts to hijack your confidence, your power, and your magic. And we're going to dive into that in today's episode of Unleashed Alchemy. So let's just jump right into it. Now, we know what survival is, okay? So I'm going to repeat what survival is. I've talked about this before in other episodes, but let's go over it. So survival is a constant state of stress. Constant state of stress. Survival is a state of stress that hovers around you like a dark cloud and never goes away. All right. So we already know, if you've been around this channel, you've heard me speak. I come from a lens of, I talk to you from the identity of a person that dwells in their sovereignty as a spiritual being in this physical body, having a physical experience. All right. So we know that as humans, there are going to be challenges that will come up in our lives. Okay. We can all agree to that, right? So when we face these situations, when we face these challenges, those challenges, those situations, they will elicit emotions in your body that do not feel good. Because oftentimes those situations are annoying. Okay, oftentimes those situations will piss you off. Oftentimes those situations will make you feel like you want to fight everyone, including the person that would smile at you. Okay, you just want to fight everybody, cuss everybody out. Those emotions are not something, they don't come at you for you to ignore. They don't come at you for you to even be afraid of them. Okay? Those emotions are meant to be alchemized. They were not meant to become a part of your identity. They were not meant, just like I said, they were not meant to be ignored. They were not meant to be feared either, right? And that is how you view when you approach life from the lens and taking action from a sovereign being. That stress from outside external challenges is supposed to be alchemized. They are not supposed to be a part of your identity. When you approach life from a person who is only focused on survival, whose only focus is to remain safe, those emotions become a part of your identity. Do you see the difference? As a sovereign being, emotions are alchemized. They do not become a part of your identity. As a person who is living from survival, those emotions are not alchemized. In fact, they find perfect places in your body to take up space, to take up free rent in your body, and they become your identity. All right. So living from a survival identity, let's keep going and keep talking about what that looks like. I'll give you an example. When you are living from a survival identity, your focus is all on the external. Your focus is always on the external. You're looking for external strategies. You're looking for someone to tell you to take step 1, 2, 3, 4. You're looking for someone to give you permission. Because you are only focused on survival, you'll always be more inclined to look for someone to give you some 3-step method to do this or some 4-step method to do that. You'll be constantly focused on finding some perfect strategy for you to deal with your challenge or whatever challenge you're facing. All right. So that you can survive life. The reason why I have been talking about survival in these last couple of episodes is because those are the messages that I am seeing people really hone in on. Okay. And for good reason. I'm not saying that those messages are not valuable. I'm not saying that those messages are not helpful. However, people are becoming hyper focused. Those messages are feeding into people looking to the outside of themselves for answers. Okay. And then that becomes the focus on just surviving life and not thriving in life. If you have gotten this far in this video, in this episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Apple or Spotify or any other podcasting platform, 9 times out of 10, you have perfected how to survive. You've perfected that. Now it is time for you. You already know as a sovereign being, it is time for you to begin to thrive in life, in every single part of your life, to thrive in your spirituality, to thrive in your magic, to thrive in your business, to thrive in your money, to thrive in your relationships with yourself first, to thrive in relationships with other people. It is time for you to thrive. You already know that. So that is why I'm talking about this, because this focus on survival is throwing people off balance. All right. It is causing disharmony. All right. So my job as a conduit of order, as a conduit of harmony, I am restoring that with these messages about living in your sovereign identity, not survival, but living in your sovereign identity and how to deal with challenges that come up and how to alchemize the emotions that are a result of those challenges. Okay. So here's what I want to tell you. I'm going to present to you this elaborate example that's going to illustrate what it looks like when you are externally focused on when you are when you're so far into focusing on survival that your lens is on the external. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay. So here's the thing though, before I give you this example, I just said that if you are only focused on survival, you're focused on the external. So that means for many of you listening and watching, you're looking to the outside. You're looking outside of yourself. You're looking for the next strategy on what to do. You're looking for someone to give you steps on what to do. Okay. In any part of your life, it could be business. It could be your money. It could be where to live. Either way, we can apply this to anything. Either way, you're looking to some perfect strategy that's going to help you survive. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Can you make progress or see progress or accomplish what you want in your life taking that survival route? Yes, we see it every day. Okay. We see it every day. People surviving a job that they don't like to accomplish things in their lives. We see that all the time. People live that every day. All right. So let me give you this example. Now, this is an example. I'm going to tell you up front. It's simple because we can all relate to it. All right. But it illustrates what I'm talking about perfectly. So the example is to consider yourself accomplished, to consider yourself productive. All right. You were given a specific strategy to do well in school, to go to college, to get that real good job, to climb some ladder, some corporate ladder somewhere, You were told that following those steps, you were told that following that strategy would bring you safety and security in your life and in your money. All right? Now, that was a strategy that was handed to you from the external. All right? Many people from the outside, from the outside looking in, for the many people that have followed that strategy, they appear to be accomplished, what we would call accomplished. They would appear to be productive in their lives because they followed that external strategy. On the other side of that, for many people, and when I say people, I'm including myself because I followed that strategy. I followed that step by step. You do this, you do this, you do this. That equals safety. And that is false. That is a horrible equation. That's not even true. Okay. So you carry the stress. People who follow that strategy, you carry the stress of survival. Because, why? Because you were never encouraged to even consider whether following those external steps, you were never encouraged to consider whether following those external strategies were in your best interest. You were never encouraged to consider whether those external strategies that were handed to you were safe for you. Because I'm just going to put a side note in here. What is safe and practical for another person may not be safe and practical for you. What's safe and practical for one person may be your coffin. All right? I'll address that in another episode. So, you never considered whether those steps and those strategies were aligned for you, were soul aligned for you. And now, because you sit in this safety, this false safety, you sit in this false security because you followed all the steps. You pushed away your own desires. You pushed away your own intuition. You pushed away your own magic to the point you get to a point where you don't even trust the desires that are coming up for you. You don't even have confidence in them. You don't even have confidence in yourself that you even have what it takes to even embrace those desires. That's how clouded your consciousness can get when you are focused only on survival. You forget that you have a destiny. You forget that you have many purposes to fulfill. You forget that you have this creative genius that sits on the inside of you. You forget that you have your own spiritual gifts that are ready to be expressed. You forget all of that. As a sovereign being, you reconnect to it. Okay, so I want to keep going with this. So then what happens is you follow these strategies, you have these so-called accomplishments. You look safe from the outside, but you don't feel safe because these desires that you forgot about are now coming to the surface. And your survival identity will tell you, nope, you're safe and you're secure here. You stay here while your desires are out here, loud, vivid, bright, obnoxious, in the most perfect way. Your desires over here are shining like the biggest, brightest moon that you've ever seen. Your desires are illuminating to you. Your desires appear are activating something in you, but that sovereign identity is telling you, nope, don't move. Stay where you're at because this is safe. These are the guidelines that you were given to stay here to remain safe. That is what the sovereign identity does. So instead of you embracing your desires, you start the habit all over again of now because you feel this unsettling in your soul and in your spirit, instead of you embracing your sovereign identity to embrace your desires, guess what? You get back into that loop of now, because now you want to get rid of those unsettling feelings that you feel. So you go back to looking to the outside to figure out how to not feel what you're feeling, how to survive once again. So now you're caught in that survival loop because you have allowed your survival identity to tell you that you have to maintain your safety. And in order to do that, you stay in what you're used to. Forget about your desires over here that are exciting to you and that you're gravitating toward. Nope, you stay here. So you see how you cannot, listening to those messages about survival, those do not help you. They don't help you because they continue to help you forget that you are a sovereign being and that you have whatever is happening in your external environment right now. Whatever you're looking at right now, whatever you're facing right now, you have keys to unlock guidance on the inside of you to help you navigate through those challenges, and yet at the same time, fulfilling your desires, embracing your desires, not ignoring what you want, not ignoring how you really truly want your life to look. So I have a few other episodes that I want to expand on this even more because it's very important. Because we have been programmed. Survival is fruit of the programming tree, which comes from religion. We already know that. But survival is fruit of the programming tree that needs to fall away. And it is falling away. But with these messages, it will give you a boost, a quantum leap into your sovereign identity so that you can start to thrive. And when I say thrive, I'm not just talking about a few, good things happening here and there and every now and then. No. I am talking about thriving every day. I am talking about you bathing in thriving. I am talking about thriving. The identity of a person who thrives just exuding from you. The expression of a person who is in thriving mode, exuding from you all the time, daily, in every moment of your life. You walk past somebody and you catch their attention because the identity of a person who thrives is just beaming off of you. That is my intent when I bring up these messages about what living in survival is costing you. Okay, so that was a little bit of a rant, but don't forget, unleashedalchemy.com is where you can go to see how you can work with me one-on-one. I offer a spiritual coaching package, which comes with multiple sessions. I also offer one 55-minute sessions, which is available from now through mid-August as of right now. Okay, so again, go to unleashedalchemy.com to see which either the package or the one-off session, see which one will work better for you. I also have books. Okay, I also have individual courses that you can buy that you can add to your spiritual bag. Okay. The books and the courses are, look at them as accessories, okay, that you can add to your spiritual bag. All right. So leave me your takeaway, whether you're watching on YouTube, leave me a comment. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, leave me a rating. Okay. Let me know what your takeaways are or were, and well, are and were from this episode. Okay. And until next time, get into thriving. Get into thriving. Just embrace it. It is your birthright. It is who you are. All right. Until next time.